Hey everyone, Corrie Thorne here, the founder and creator of More Than Existing. I am a modern day mystic, a psychic medium, and everything in between, a published author. And my work is about helping to empower, inspire others to be able to know that there is a beautiful essence within ourselves, and that beautiful essence is for us to discover. The biggest thing I always say is the best thing you can ever do is break up with you. So and relearn and really truly relearn. So one of the things that we're doing today, what I'm doing today is I am actually recording all of the predictions for each and every month. If you have missed my yearly prediction for the big whole year in the general, well, there is two parts. And so if you go onto the YouTube channel and you can catch the two parts of the yearly predictions for 2023. So I will be doing each and every sign. And thank you for being with me and for always supporting me. Also, please remember, these do not replace any medical, psychological advice or anything else that you have been given. They are to be taken as entertainment. I am not working with anybody on an individual level, session right now. So these recordings are for you and for you to be able to just allow yourself to check back in over the year and to just see what happens. And remember, it's general, so it doesn't resonate with everyone. It may not connect with you at all. And if it doesn't, feel free to check your other signs. I'm not an astrologer. I read energy. I work with energy. So this is about the energy that is happening and existing throughout each and every sign. So thank you so much. And I look forward to sharing these with you. Hello, good day. Scorpios, we are moving forward with your reading now. This is your forecast reading and predictions. This is for 2023. I am recording this on December the 29th, which is still in 2022. And it is on the day of the Mercury goes retrograde. So we have Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So there is a lot of energy. There's a lot of intensity within the world, and there's a lot of intense energy. And I just keep getting this sense of around the Scorpio energy is, really truly look up what you like. Look up to what you are. How do they want to put this? I really got to sit with this one. Look up to what you are beyond everything you keep trying to be. Look up to what you are beyond everything you keep trying to be. You are neglecting somehow, not all, some of you, to see some of your greatest qualities in trying to be in the world that exists. And if you were to work with astrology, it speaks about your overdeveloped is your south node. And so there's parts of who and what we are within ourselves that sometimes we may be overemphasizing, right? So what parts, what are you trying to convince the world you are? Sometimes it's like, are you trying to convince the world you're a good person, a good, the good girl, the good boy? Are you trying to convince people that you're innocent? All of those things that you try to convince people of in the world is basically sometimes leaves a lot of judgment, and it comes from a place of feeling like you're still trying to please somebody or trying to live up to somebody's expectations. Stop trying to be it. Stop trying to convince the world you're that. Stop acting out that act, because that act is not a truth. It is an illusion of a truth. And that truth is having an effect on you, because then it allows you to guilt yourself. And whoever that's for and wherever that comes in, I'm like, it's coming directly from the divine. I'm like, it is like a powerful message. And I'm like, how would I commute this without it sounding kind of real crappy? But it's in More Than Existing. I basically, what I say is break up with yourself. Even the parts of you think are the best of you, break up with them. Because what if that's limited? What if that's limiting you? So in trying to prove to the world that you're good, you're innocent, you may be trying to choose the relationships, the people in your life that look like it's good, looks like it belongs. But in the meantime, you're denying yourself the opportunity of the excitements and the thrills and the joy of being just you, like your truest versions of you. So this may be someone who you may have been raised in extreme like religions or extreme control, and or just always trying to be that, you may have had one sibling who wasn't good and you may be trying to always be the good one. And so sometimes when we do that, it's like, oh, I'm the good one. Well, you're judging the other one as bad. So basically you're telling the other person they're not as good as you. They're not enough. And you literally, it feeds that sense of it feeds the shadow. It feeds the monster within. So whoever and wherever that comes in, I'm like sitting back, and they're like sitting back, like, yeah, that's just how it is. So this feels like very kind of even personal. Like someone on the other side says, listen, like this is from the divine, the angelic realm, sitting back in their chairs, just going, you know what, we see it all. God consciousness, creator, source, you're saying, you know what, we see what you are. You trying to convince the world you're innocent, but you're doing things that are, are like every other human being out there, then you're no more innocent than anyone else. You're innocent to specific things, but you're not the innocent one. You're not the, you're not the holy one. You're human, and it's okay to be human, and it's okay to have your flaws, and it's okay to have mess ups, and it's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to do shit sometimes that is just like maybe even out of character. And it's like, you're not fooling anyone by trying to convince anyone that you're all sweet and innocent. Especially not this, because this knows that we're not. And it's all you're doing is then you're leading yourself down the path of doing things that are not your truth. And they really want you to know that. Now, that may be just one scenario, but what they're trying to tell us, as I sit back up now, what they're trying to tell us is there is a level of, authenticity that's being required for you to step into 2023. And wherever you're denying yourself the authenticity, you're also then accepting, the lies of other people. You accept the mask and the character that they present to you, which may not be their truth. My ascendant is actually Scorpio. So what I present to the world, and I'm an Aries, is actually Scorpio, but I'm not Scorpio. I'm an Aries, and I'm so much more than an Aries, of course. But sometimes I can be that sense of distant, or that like standoffish, or I can have characteristics that appear to be, and that's my protection. That is that I don't care, or but I care too much. Like I can act like I don't care, but in the meantime, like in my old days, behind closed doors, I would torture myself over everything. Did I say the wrong word? Did I do the same? And I lived with that for years until I really started to care about who was behind closed doors, and who I was behind closed doors when nobody was looking, and who I was in my actions, and really wanting to be absolute sure that if I wanted to be the same person out than I was in, like I had to be honest with myself. And so we can tell ourselves a lot of lies and accept them. And sometimes we're accepting a lot of lie. When we accept our own lies, when we lie to ourselves, or we try to convince ourselves of our own mask and our own shadows is who we are, then we accept that in others. So when you accept it in you accept it in others. So sometimes we're accepting our own vices, our own behaviors, our own patterns that are not serving our highest good, not bad or good. It's not a judgment of bad or good, is not serving your highest good. And if it's not serving your highest good, then you're always in that lower energy. You're always in that acceptance of that within another. So you have a tendency to accept the vices, the not so great behaviors and of others, and your tolerance for the things that are not really serving your highest good becomes really high and acceptable. So you accept that, which means then you are not living in your highest good, you're living in your wants. And when you fight for your wants instead of what the needs are, is that you'll find yourself with something that you probably should never have allowed in your life. And that's coming up in several different areas, right? It's like, oh, I'm getting that position come hell or high water. I don't care if anyone else wants it. I once ended up in a relationship because somebody else wanted that person, and all the friends just said, don't you dare, like, you can't let that person, they're not very nice. You can't let them have him. You got to go date him because it would be nice. He's too nice for them. Well, I didn't want him. So I was telling a lie and I stepped into a lie. Now I was young, but I stepped into a lie and I lived a lie and I became a part of the lie. And that followed me through for a while until I couldn't live in that lie. And I tried to convince myself that because it was a nice person, because it was a good person with a good heart, I could accept that. But I also then, because I was living in my lie, I wasn't seeing their shadows, and their shadows were much deeper. And they had their own issues and things. They weren't nice or too good. They were passive and they were afraid, and they were not really living as their truth. And so when shadows meet shadow, you'll end up in a shadow relationship. You'll end up in a shadow job. You'll end up shadowing somebody else. You'll end up following somebody else. You'll end up chasing something that is not for you. So Scorpio, please this year, be aware of your own shadows, your own behaviors, your own actions, what you accept in yourself. Be an observer of how you describe yourself to others. And just notice how when you're in a room full of maybe a whole bunch of people, you may have something that you call, what I coin as your claim to fame. But sometimes you really got to let go of those claim to fames. When I broke down my claim to fames, I realized those were responses, the complexities of life, right? Like to just be able to tell myself these narratives and these stories so that I could feel worthy somewhere. And you're all worthy, you're all beautiful, you all have beautiful things, but we're all very freaking human. So it's a year to really acknowledge our imperfections, our humanness, a lot of self-acceptance and self-love for Scorpio energy, a lot of realizing that, you're never going to see some things, play out the way that you would have loved to see them play out. And you're going to realize that things have cost you a lot in the journey to get to there. So sometimes what we wanted so bad, when you got it, it's not because you wanted it. It's not what you need. So you find yourself in what you've picked up is someone who is a mirror reflection, or a job that's a mirror reflection, or a situation or a group of friends that is a mirror reflection of your shadow, and not of what your heart and your truth is really craving. And so this year it's about, what is my truest of self? What is my higher self? What is my calling within me, craving to have more of within my life, in my needs, right? It's like when you finally say, oh my God, I am so thirsty, it means you're finally thirsty. But the next thing that we make is a choice. And the choice that you make when you're thirsty, your body will want water because it's made up of water. But the mind and the belief may tell you you don't like water. Or you may walk to the fridge and you may grab something else, and it will be a temporary satisfaction to the thirst. What you did was you fed the thirst and not the body, right? You didn't feed the need, you fed the thirst. And so how much of your thirst to keep up to the shadow have you been feeding? And this is the year to acknowledge it, to recognize it, and to kind of call it up and call it out. And if you don't, it's going to happen in so many situations. And this is not for everyone. Some of you have already been long on the journey, but this is coming up in like truckloads. And I didn't know how to bring it in. I just said, I give it to you, creator, God, source, creator, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, I give it to you, and you just give it back to me in the wisdom of how to share this. And that's what they gave it to you. So, seeing that within your life and recognize it. And some people don't even know they even do it, because it's so it's fed into your subconscious. It becomes a mechanism. So if you're living in your mechanisms of survival, you're always going to be in survival mode. You're always going to be convincing yourself that you're getting the life that is the ideal life, that keeps you looking like you're the person that you want to be, but it's not always the person you need to be. And so sometimes the person you need to be is so much greater than the person you're trying to be. Complicated? Well, you make life that complicated. We all do. When we really are trying in our head to be that much in control. OCDs, isms, the repeat, how many people have got those repeat patterns, behaviors? Got to do this at the same time, get up, da, 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 da. Now, all of those things, you have to look at them and ask yourself, where did I get those? Where did I create those? Now, there's nothing wrong with having some organization, don't get me wrong, but it's like obsession to healthy living is very different. So this is going to be a year of where healthy living will find its way in. It feels as if you are here to this year paint a new picture, to paint some new, to paint a new picture, to see things differently, to create some different imagery within your mind so that you can start to do some deeper healing on the things that you've held yourself back from. This is going to be a time of serious kind of rest. Like in the beginning of the year, I feel like it's, even though a lot of it is go time, but serious rest. So this is winter. So, your water is frozen. So there's, you are a water sign, and that's the emotions, and the water is frozen. Everything is still alive, but there's a period of time for you to be in rest mode, to slow down. Ego is coming up largely here. So the battle of the ego, the lower energy of the ego, which ties then into our experiences, to the higher essence, to do the right things for the right reasons. And sometimes the right things, to do the right things, doesn't feel right at the time. It feels pretty freaking shitty, but it's right in the end when you know that you chose the right version of you to stand up for, the right version of you to make your choices and your decisions for, and the right version of you to start stepping into your life so that you can step into your future. And so, these are the ego always speaks of, I'm trapped. It's my only option. It's the only thing. I'm so innocent. I'm so good. I'm so this, I'm so that. And, that can, people perceive those things differently. And this is so funny. A ladybug is walking across my screen. And this is January the 29th. I'll show you. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on. Ladybug. Do the right things for the right reasons. I save the ladybugs. I don't put them back outside when they come in the fall. Put them in the plants, let them stay. But this ladybug just came in. So there is something waiting for you. And you got to be the truest version of you and not the ego in order for it to get here. So letting yourself lead your way through, doing the right things for the right reason. And so that you can start to take the steps, the 10 of autumn, start to take the steps to start to allow yourself to create the true authentic life that is here for you. So it is going to be a time of really, truly slowing down, reflecting, becoming an observer, looking at life in a whole new way, looking in at you, listening to your own self-talk, listening to, how you communicate, becoming very aware this year. So there's a lot of awakening energy in the Scorpio energy this year, a lot of great awareness. And I feel like some of you are even getting really just fed up with the old story and making a choice to choose to move on. Now, I'm going to leave the card this way because the ladybug is right there. And I don't want to squish the ladybugs. Right there. That's sweet. And so that ladybug, I feel like, is a sign for some of you coming in, that ladybug represents something big. Something so small can have such a big meaning. And so something so small with such a big meaning, life starts again. This ladybug was probably dormant and today it's warmer. The sun was shining in the window where they sit, whatever it may be. But that ladybug that ladybug should not be here because it's winter. But why shouldn't it be here? Right. So it's like when we start to do the things for the right reasons, even though it feels like it's the wrong time, the wrong season, you'd be surprised what can unfold when you're walking in your life as the full version of you. So we have the 9 of summer that's also coming in, and this is your wishes come true. And so what was your true wishes? What did you always truly want? Right? See, the good you do comes back to you. So there's things that we do that sometimes we tell ourselves, oh, I'm so good, I'm doing all the good things. But in the meantime, we're doing the things to get what we want and not the things that we need. And we'll step on anyone's toes or do anything to get it. because when you get caught up in an experience or in a moment, you don't realize, because you're not looking around at the impact or the effect it's having on everything else. When you choose to do the right thing for you for the right reasons, everything else starts to align. And that means, really truly that sense of kindness and being caring and compassionate. And that means being that to you as well. And so there is just a sense of like, just there's luck. There's luck in here, Scorpio. There's beautiful things unfolding for many that's in this Scorpio energy. So wherever that Scorpio may be in your chart, I'm sure it has an impact and influence upon you, that it's coming back in for us. And so what seems to be, this seems to be a comeback. This is an awakening, a comeback, a rejuvenation, a recharge. And I just see people like, I just see some moving into new homes, getting new homes, building new homes, having kind of that life, but finally seeking true happiness over having to convince the world. You don't have to convince the world of anything. You don't have to prove to the world anything. You've got nothing to prove, but you've got everything to gain by being your true self, by being honest and authentic to what is really aligning to you. So I see there, I feel like some of you are checking out or, seeking out some wisdom, some guidance. Some of you may be flipping faith, changing direction in faith, finding your way through into a new way of living, a new way of being. You may see a big, massive change and shift in life, friendships. Some of you may choose this year that this is going to be the year that you're going to like volunteer and go somewhere within the world where you're going to, be of service somewhere and help out somewhere. And you may have been dreaming of it forever. And finally, you're going to do this. Like, it just feels like there's so many opportunities that are coming in here. And so when you are your true authentic self, that sense of, you give yourself the rite of passage to be kind of assertive, which means go time, which means to be that sense of divinely aggressive in knowing I'm worthy of this. I deserve this. This is, and so, but who is the I that's deserving this? Who's the I? It's the one who makes the choice to choose to really be that sense of authentic to yourself. And, following those passions for Scorpio, some of you are finally going back to school and doing the things that and you may be later in life and you're just like, I'm going to do this now. I'm done. I'm going to finally do the thing that I really wanted to do. I'm done telling myself stories. I'm done lying to myself. Now, there is going to be some people who may just finally not have to work and be the person who gets to stay home. And it's like your dream life is to be able to stay home. And there's not one thing wrong with that. So maybe the opportunity where your husband, your partner has the flow of money, where finally you're able to stay home, where you don't have to go out and work outside the home, that you get to be that homebody, you get to be in the house, you get to be that within your life. And that may have been your dream. And if it's your dream, then friggin' live it to the absolute fullest, because why not you? Why not that opportunity? Why not that experience for you? And so there is the, say, a lot of luck. A lot of luck, a lot of luck, as my ladybug is going. So now I do feel like there is some unexpected things. So this comes in seasons, of course. This is not all year. This is not all through. I feel like it is challenges and seasons, like challenges in some seasons, luck in other seasons. And what those challenges are is challenging you to let endings occur. And there is places in your life where you have to, where it's time. You don't have to do shit. You got free will. But it is a time to be able to start to let endings occur, because there has to be an ending in order for your new beginning to find its way. And many of you have been not doing that. You've not been walking your path. You've been waiting for someone else to make a choice or decision for you or for your life before you choose. So you've kind of not been choosing. And, it's like, and it's your, if you want your life to be, this is the queen, right? This is the queen. She's in reverse. She's upside down here. And so, your world is waiting to transform, but you're waiting for something or somebody else for some reason, waiting for the world to get better, waiting for things to come into place. There is just some sense of, you haven't fully moved forward from a set time, and now it's time to move forward. Justice is on your side. Justice is in the upright. This is a major life event. So I'm like, justice is served. You've served your time in certain situations. You've served your time in, so if you've raised your kids and now you're deciding you're going back to school, or you're deciding you're going to go out and work and you're going to do whatever you want to do, yay to you. But I also feel like it's just like the sense of, if there's somebody who has been pulling the wool over your eyes, I feel like you're going to start lifting up the wool. And you're going to start to see things more clearly than you have ever seen them before, because for some reason, some of you have not been seeing things clearly. You've allowed yourself to see things in a, with rose-colored glasses. And I feel like the rose-colored glasses are coming off, and you're seeing something you didn't see before. You're going to see some truth, because when we get caught in those wants, our rose-colored glasses get so intense, right? And so you have the underlying of all this is the Fool, which is a 0. And so for me, and what the Fool is telling us is, in between the endings and the beginnings is this space, this time, which is playtime, which is create time. And so that Fool is no real fool, even though it appears as like it's not, you're not juggling things around. You are shifting and moving and finding out, what do you want to keep going in your life? What do you want to have in your life? What do you want to move forward with? And so you're bringing the pieces together. And so he's got his wand put down, his loop. He can kind of do everything. I feel like you are going to have multiple choices and decisions of things to choose to do. And it's going to be yours to do. It's just, life is really going to be turning itself kind of upside down, inside out, all the way around, being that sense of entertainment, right? It's like you get to entertain new ideas, new thoughts. You get to decide, and imperfectly perfect Gemma, you get to decide how you want to live your imperfectly perfect life, your imperfectly perfect self. Like, there's just so many things here, because there is divine light coming in. I feel like possibly divine intervention for some of you. And it's an acceptance. So this is also a year of great acceptance for you. Really, truly starting to accept. And no, I'm not reading tarot. I'm just using the imagery, because how I see things, I need this. And so there is a sense of, I'm using tarot and oracle, but and so there is this sense of this, like divine intervention. I just so lost my thought in there because I tried to explain myself. Shit, that frig. Okay. My big own human ego trip this year, my healing is to stop explaining the why behind the things that I do when they are divinely guided. Because I always over-explain myself in my personal life. So this is about this ego. And there's a lot of ego things that we do that create habits that are not always serving our highest good. I got little tears then, because I could feel that in my heart when I just did that again, and they told me I would feel it every time. And I don't just feel it for me, I feel it for you as well, Scorpio. Where do you do that? Where is that story you're telling? What is it for? And what's it justifying? Over-explaining, oversharing, feeling like you're obligated, feeling like you have to give to so much of your time that there's no time left for you. There's just so many little things, but also accepting vices of somebody else or yourself that are interfering with who you truly know that you are. And so imperfectly perfect Gemma goes back to about age 14. What was happening in your life about age 14 when maybe you were being mocked? But for some of you, age 14, I get that 14. What is that 14? And so I just do what I do the way I do it because that's who I am. I don't have a set plan. I don't follow, the whole set of this is who you have to be, this is how it's supposed to be done. I trust the divine more than I trust the rules and the set in place way of being a human, because I have spent a lifetime removing those sense of having to be so controlled by that subconscious beliefs of how to, this is the only way. There's many ways, and you have to trust there's a way for you. So the B is that which is defying all odds. She's a shadow of herself. She's looking into the world to be defined. And you're not here to look into the world to define yourself. You're here to look into you, to know who you are, to know that, the bee should not be able to fly. If it was listening to the people telling it was too fat, it would never be able to fly. So, but those wings can lift it. So a lot of the habits, a lot of the behaviors, patterns that we have is because we are still fighting back. We are still fighting back for that projection of somebody else's fears and insecurities upon you. And so when you are always fighting back and you create habits in a way of fighting back to prove I'm not going to be that, I'm going to be this instead, I'm going to do that, you are getting so far away from your truth. You are hurting yourself more than you're hurting anyone else. And this is the year to really come back. So I'm going to go with these ages 14 and 20. I believe this card is. And he's back on top of the cards again. He was just over there on the desk. And so if you were collecting ladybugs when you were a child and everyone else was out doing something else and they made fun of you for collecting ladybugs, go back to collecting ladybugs. So age 20 and age 14. These are and so this could be months or it could be anything. I'm picking up ages. So these are pivotal ages within life. And so what was happening maybe in your life around that time that may have an impact upon, how you present yourself to the world, and how we present ourselves in the presence of our experiences matters. It really, truly does. And so just trusting that this year. Also, I do have a sense of, I keep seeing a celebration. I feel like there's going to be something to see Delilah awakening. An observer. This is exact. Go to my own cards. Use my own cards. So Delilah is, she don't have a water lily. She's got tiger lilies because she gets to choose. And tiger lilies is about, being loyal to you, truth, purity, whatever it may be. That's what they represent for me in here. And so this is then her legs are crossed. She's looking in a new direction. We know Delilah, when she went against her own heart, it caused a lot of destruction. And in the end, it didn't serve her or anyone else. And the observer is, be an observer of your own behavior, your own actions, your own word. Being able to call ourselves up and out is a connection to our soul when we do it with love, compassion, and kindness about who and what we are and where we want to be in our own lives. So, this also in the top is an unintentional Mother Mary who kind of just appears in this images, and that image of self, everyone will have a story to tell about us, but we know who we are in no sense of when the doors are closed, when we're sitting in our sadness, when we're sitting in our wondering, what if, when we're sitting in those moments, when we feel ourselves keep pushing and pushing and pushing to just try to be enough, the overdoing things, the overstimulating things, the overabundance that we do sometimes, or the overboard, going overboard, or the stonewalling, whatever it may be, whatever it is, catch it. And this is, and time is a ticking in the way that, life is preparing you for a new cycle, a new opportunity. But if you're so busy filling up for your shadow, then you're going to miss your beautiful opportunities and your beautiful life. And it's going to take more time for it to come around. So our other card of this is Timeless Treasure, which is Una. And for me, she really represents that sense of liberty. So just like the 0, this is like the last quarter mile. So the last quarter mile of coming to completion of everything is always the hardest because it's the one that takes the extra effort. And this is a year of having to go the last quarter mile to come to complete an end of cycles to begin again, to finally set yourself free of specific things within life, and also a time of then also a time then of being able to celebrate, to step into new beginnings and reaping the rewards. It will be a year of reaping the rewards of good things, and doing good things, and just feeling the, you know, feeling the love on your, like the love wrapping around you, instead of the pressure on your shoulders, instead of that nudge, that weight that you carry, instead of all of that. I just feel like it's like really carrying you, like letting yourself be carried in a sense of love. Now, some of you are going to have to travel this year, and some of you are going to have to travel for family or things that are coming up for family, maybe aging parents, it may be something else is happening. And I feel like you might have to make some tougher choices and decisions. I see you being, having to kind of call in the friends, call in the troops, call in people to help and guide. And I see you actually being held, and really not being afraid to, it's like, don't be afraid to ask the people that would always have your back in a time when you absolutely need it. Because there is going to be some of you that are going to have to help make some tough choices and some tough decisions. You may have aging parents, it may be, you may be aging yourself, who knows? But being an observer of that experience is going to teach you a lot about yourself. And you're going to learn a lot about you through those experiences that are unfolding. Now I do have some, see, forever yearning. I do have some envies in here, or some always waiting for something. And I feel like it's time to stop yearning, stop living and waiting for something to happen, and start living in, this is happening. This is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm having. And it's shining a light up on that within our lives. So this year, be very, it's about being an observer. It's about knowing that there's so many moments and experiences and pieces of yourself that are awakening up to new experiences, new opportunities, new versions of yourself, and a lot of new beginnings. So embrace this journey. Take take a lot of things with a grain of salt, including how when we become an observer of ourselves, you got to learn to laugh at yourself. The ability to be able to care for yourself, to know that you can make the right decisions. Be aware of the two, bring an awareness to the ego has two sides, right? And both have power to really, truly guide us through life. And one is, and it's not for us to discount ego. You're not here to fully really get rid of ego. It's an impossible task. You need it. You need it to give you the courage. You need it to inspire you sometimes. But I just feel like there's just there's new things growing. It's like Jack and the Beanstalk story. I don't know. I see a lot of symbolism, and for you to not to miss the symbols and the signs of beautiful things or beautiful people that are coming into your life or have been in your life, returning to your life, and a clearing and ridding of a lot of things that are no longer aligning to, suiting, or belonging in your life. And there's moving forward. I've seen some of my Scorpios at an event, like either a wedding or a celebration of something. But I feel like I see you being happy. I can feel the love in your heart. I can feel that sense of pride there. And for some of my Scorpios, this may be the opportunity of inviting in a new family, like new children, like having children, getting another pet, whatever it may be. But I feel like it's like there is definitely that opportunity. If you've been on the fence, say you got two children, you're like, oh, do we want another one? That surprise child may show up for you this year. You may end up with that surprise child, or you may end up with children that are maybe you didn't plan on, but they come as part of the package. They may be coming into your life, and that may lead to some obstacles and some challenges, but could also be the opportunity if you present your true self right from the beginning. Don't act like anything you're not, and just be there. I think that could work out very well as well. I don't know. I just feel like some of my Scorpios are going to be a part of something where it's going to leave you questioning. Just going to leave you questioning things. And it's just like somebody else makes choice and decision to do something. And I don't know. I'm just like, it just feels like you know, it feels like somebody's doing something real, you know, almost out of character, or just being like kind of fed up with life. And for some reason, you're involved in the situation somehow. And I don't know how. I don't know if you're involved in the situation because you're going to be there for people, or you're going to be there, or you're going to be doing, I wish, I wish, I wish. The wishing doesn't serve anything. Do what you can, be who you can be at now and in this time, in the places you can. Everything else is out of your control. You can't control somebody else's choices and decisions and what they choose to do at all. But remember where you're loved. Remember where love shines. And remember that when you look, you got to look deeper than the surface of your mirror. You got to be able to see the essence of a divine. And so your card from the angels, and you're the only ones that I have pulled this deck of cards for. And it is surrender. And so this is the Angels of the Light by Diana Cooper. And for some reason, I felt the need to pull you this card. So Scorpio, I'm going to read you this because this is the angels speaking to you. Whatever you resist in life persists. Ask your angels to help you dissolve all the resistances of your ego, which is the inner conflicts and struggles, the rigid mindsets and habits, so that they can flood your life with higher truth and joy. When you surrender to the guidance of your higher self, all the energy you have been using in resistance becomes available to you. Vitality, inner peace, harmony, and most of all, love are your spiritual rewards. So flow with the pace of life, relax and tune in, then follow the guidance of your intuition, knowing that the angels will support you at all times. I surrender to the flow of life. Everything we just spoke about in a few little words from the angels. And so I'm just going to hold it up. You may want to, just in case you feel like you want to see it. It's hard to, but that's the card. It was validation to everything else that this crazy journey has been through your forecast reading for you and through some of the predictions of it. Much love, care for yourself, be kind to yourself, and to be an observer of your own self this year. And when we start to be an observer, we start to really also, not do we just, start to break up with the old habits and stuff, but we also start to find the treasures, which are the part of our truth, which we deny ourselves in trying to constantly be something and trying to get our wants in life. So there is a beautiful human within all of us, and we are all imperfectly perfect. So it's okay to be your imperfect human. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Embrace it and enjoy it. Much love. See you soon. Bye-bye.